choice. Gates, fences, barricades, limited street access, closed lots, and then some. By now, you've heard the stories from the folk who've lived this nightmare. Business owners have lost customers. A charter school lost students. A veterinarian lost clients. Churches have lost members. And still, Procrastination Crenshaw sits unfinished. And when I say sits unfinished, I mean sits unfinished. Nobody was seduced by the Jedi mind trick they tried to play when they ran that headline on the front page of a local black newspaper about the project restarting in weeks. I mean, come see for yourself. The only trucks on Crenshaw are deconstruction trucks. It took a minute, but to her credit, LA Mayor Karen Bass showed up and she's leaning in on getting our parking back. But think about this for just a second. LA is not Chocolate City, and yet we are blessed to have a black mayor and a black city council president. But where is the black city council president? Where is Marquise Harris Dawson? This is his project in his district, but he has been strangely quiet. Did you notice in the recent Los Angeles Times story about Procrastination Crenshaw that neither Marquise Harris Dawson nor Destination Crenshaw had a word to say on the record? The silence was deafening. When people ask me why the silence, all I can say is, good question. As a reminder, the Crenshaw Corridor community sent him a letter, and it laid out real demands. A public timeline, relief for the businesses that have suffered, and an audit. At the moment, the last one matters most, the audit. Here's the thing, the foundation money, the private donations, that's their business. But this project is also funded by city money, state money, and federal money. I refer you back to the front page story in that black newspaper where they all talked about this. Go read it again. In any event, it's your money. And when public money goes into a $100 million project that still sits unfinished, the public has a right to see where every dollar went. Contracts, budgets, payments, schedules. That's not too much to ask. Again, it's your money. Our letter gave Mr. Harris Dawson a deadline, Friday, September 4th, to respond. The clock is ticking, Mr. President. 12 hours to mind the public's business. And this is one of them. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
How do you want it?
Street Science, you're on here. What do you feel when you hear a record like Tupac's new one?
I love Tupac's new record.
Right, but don't you feel like that creates tension between East and West? He's talking about killing people. I had sex with your wife, and not in those words. But he's talking about, I want to see you deceased.
To live and die in LA, California. What you say about Los Angeles? Still the only place for me that never rains in the sun. To live and die in LA, where every day we try to fatten our pockets. Us against hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own thing, currency chasing. Worldwide through the hard times, worrying faces. Shed tears as we bury getting close to heart. What was a friend, now a ghost in the dark. Cold part about it, getting got smoked by a fiend. Trying to floss on him, blind to a broken man's dream. A hard lesson, court cases keep him guessing. Plea bargain ain't the option now, so I'm stressing. Cost me more to be free than a life in the pen. Making money off of cuss words, writing again. Learn how to think ahead, so I fight with my pen. Late night down, sunset, like in the zen. What's the worst they can do to a nigga? Got me lost in hell to live and die in LA. On bail, my angels sing.
KBLA Talk 1580. We could just listen to that. I'd rather do that than listen to the trial. And I'm glad I finally figured it out, because I was feeling weird. Like, is it that I'm not remembering how important Tupac was to the world or to my life? Am I somehow betraying him because I don't want to watch every documentary and follow this trial? And I finally realized it yesterday. I am tired of being lied to. being lied to by the media, by the cops, by the gang members, by the exploiters, by the influencer. I am tired of being lied to, and I don't want to have to try to figure out who's lying and who's not lying. I have my own theories, but since I don't have proof, nor do I have an entire investigative wing of First Things First, I'll just pray on it. And I think for me, the solution is listen to the man's music, watch his movies, say his name, Tupac Shakur. He should still be here. And I will say what I always say. And this did come up in the trial. Not that I'm watching it cover to cover, but I did see this, that there's conversation about how he was planning to go back to the Bay Area and leave the record label. And my knowledge and instinct combined said he was going back to the Bay, and he was going to build an organization, not just an entertainment organization, but a political organization, because Tupac Shakur was the product of the Black Panther Party, of Oakland activism, of the creative arts, of the Black arts movement, just as I am, just as so many of us are. And we don't forget that. That legacy doesn't go away. I don't care what 75, influencers want to say. That doesn't change. It is what it is. It is the bottom line for me. So rest in peace, Pac. And if you want to talk about that or anything else, call me 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. That's the number to call if you want to say something. If you want to say something in the YouTube comment section, there's always a lot of talk with our delegation. That's a KBLA 1580 on YouTube. And we're also streaming on Facebook, by the way, if you'd like to see me there. I will be at City Hall today. If you want to join, you're invited to come. Tech Lamert is doing their thing. It is Tech Lamert's Creative Pathways Social. And they're celebrating the future of next-gen creatives. I will be there as an MC. If you want to come, it's not too late. This is Tech Lamert, the mayor of the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass, along with the Vision Lab and Brotherhood Crusade. It is from noon to 2 today, downtown LA. You can RSVP Creative Pathways LA. .eventbrite.com. It's free, but you got to sign up. creativepathwaysla.eventbrite.com. And looking forward to joining Tech Lamert's executive director, Paris McCoy, who you hear on a regular basis on this show, and others. Lots of young, talented tech entrepreneurs will be there. Miles, you should come. Oh, wait, you're still working. You can't come. you got to run Jesse Jackson's show. He's one of those young tech entrepreneurs. I feel like you guys, the millennials, the younger millennials like Miles, get a bad rap because they say y'all don't work. This guy does nothing but work. All you do is work. He's here before 6, and he's working on the weekends. But I'm sure it will all pay off. In any case, you are invited to join me there. Also wanted to let you know, because we didn't get a chance to get to it on the Freedman Friday, that Torre, Brandon Reese, who you just heard, talking reparations, will be performing Saturday, September 12th, the 2026 Porch concert. It's going to be from 1 p.m. to dusk, and that's at 2258 West 24th Street in L.A., with Mau Mau Rising, Roots and Thunder, local artists and poets, and Queen Micheline Nyanza and Caribbean Breeze. So they got a lot going on. They have food, they have drink. You got to bring your own lawn chairs. If you want more info, go to familysoul.org. It's FAMLI, familysoul.org, and there's something fun to do. All right, we got a lot going on. A lot to talk about. And yeah, I get it. Daryl Brown says I sound like a corporate Dem because I said big tent. I say all kinds of terminology. The question is, what policies do you support? The question is, what actions do you take? The question is, how do you show up in the world? And I show up in the world as a progressive, not a progressive poser, but a real progressive, and have for some time. When I got called out and vilified for supporting Bernie Sanders, because whatever reason, when I got called out for supporting Barack Obama, who I understand was a moderate, and I knew he was a moderate, but I also thought he was a very talented politician, and I thought it was time for us to have a black president. And I knew that Chairman Fred Hampton was not going to be elected President of the United States, that President Barack Obama, for all his moderateness, was part of the repair, and now a big part of the backlash that we're currently living in. So no, I am not a corporate Dem, but yes, I am strategic. I am a member of the Democratic Party, and I insist that we are strategic. Yes, I voted for Kamala Harris, even though my friend, Dr. Melina Abdullah, was running for vice president with Dr. Cornel West, who are both not posers. They're both consistent progressives who have been doing the work. For me, it was strategic. And yeah, we can, she's a prosecutor. Did she prosecute people? Yes. Would she have been a better choice for our country? Yes. I felt that she distinguished herself as much as she could in the position she was in on Gaza. She made a lot of mistakes. I think it did cost her the election. I don't think she's going to be the nominee in 2028. But we got to be strategic. It's like when my own father, Amiri Baraka, who was not a Democratic Socialist but an actual Marxist-Leninist, supported Obama because it's strategic. It was the right move. It was the best. It would produce the best outcome from where we are at the moment. And I think two of the biggest problems that we have with the progressive wing of the Democratic Party and the progressive wing of society, particularly some of the DSA folks, is this tendency to live in the theoretical. You got to be able to strive in the theoretical and strategize towards, your theoretical perfect place, but not be living in a fantasy world of not addressing how we get from point A to point B. 800-920-1580. All are welcome. Yeah, all are welcome. You just, we'll do amnesty, but you just got to keep it short. Amnesty, 60 seconds or less, 800-920-1580. Fahima, though, has not called this week, so she doesn't have the 60-second rule. Good morning, Queen. Fahima?
Hey, Pastor Dominique. Can you hear me?
I do now. Yeah, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I was trying to avoid just saying, can you hear me? I wanted to say a few things, but I'm only going to say one.
Just say hi instead of can you hear me? Just say hi. Say Hotep Jumbo, what's up?
Well, I always start with Habaragani K. Pasa.
Right.
But I want to say a couple things, but I'm only going to address one. Because, first of all, let me just lay this out very quickly. You have Donovan McKinney in Detroit, Michigan. You have Angie Nixon in Florida. And you have Denise George in Washington, D.C. 3 black African Americans who are members of the SA. And all 3 of them, by the way, are state representatives who are vying for a higher seat. Now, I'm going to say this. I am old enough to remember that DSA, which was formed in the late 80s, was comprised of civil rights organizations, anti-war groups, and labor. And their Gaza of the day was the anti-apartheid movement. And today, Gaza is not the only thing that is on their platform. It is universal health care, education, quality housing, for people, a quality of better life for everyone. Are they Pan-Africanists? Are they nationalists? No. But they are for a better standard and quality of life for everyone. And I just would encourage people to stop listening to the propaganda. They're not saying Democratic Socialists. They're calling them socialists and communists. Please, people, you know the predicament that we are in right now. And going in that direction is only going to get worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a couple things that I want to. Go ahead, and then I'll interject. You said you have students
I'm just saying, that have lost opportunities through this as a result of this administration. Fellowships that are no longer available, and opportunities that have been dismantled.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and it's happening now, and it's also businesses, by the way, small and otherwise, including the one that you're listening to right now. What I was going to say is that when you talk about, Democratic Socialists, we do have to be mindful. There's different flavors. There's different platforms. You got to listen and look at the people's track records and what they're doing. Some of the DSA candidates are being slimed or DQ'd based on the DSA platform, which does have some weird things in it, right? But every single, as Angie Nixon was really wise to do, even when Gail was trying to, Gail King was trying to bait her, that was pretty sad when she tried to link her to, this podcaster, a YouTuber guy. But anyway, my point is that Angie Nixon has been careful to say this is my platform. And so she can't be taken down just based on some of the things on the DSA platform, like they want to get rid of the presidency, which, okay. Again, back to reality. And then, here in LA, you have Nithya Raman, who desperately wants to be seen as Zoran Mamdani, but she's not. Because if she was, she would have been moving very differently in the LA City Council. Was she initially endorsed by the DSA? Yes. Is she trying to get that endorsement again? Yes. But what have you done that is truly progressive, that is truly in the mold of the DSA? And that's my question. And she's not the only one. There are people in different jurisdictions and towns that are presenting as the Timu Zoran Mamdani, and number two, that are what I call progressive posers. They want to say progressive, but their records do not support it. And then there's the third concern, which I know you were trying to address, and we can address it on the other side, which is there an element within the DSA, and it's obviously not the black people you've just named, is there an element that thinks, well, we don't need black people? With Arab Americans, Asian Americans, and progressive Latinos, or just white folks, we can bypass the folks that we currently feel are out of style, which is black Americans. We can address that when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
Where the overlooked become unmissable. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Brothers and sisters! There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580, or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website, or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt?
With Civic Tax Relief, they were able to save me upwards of $80,000 that I would have had to pay had I not reached out to them.
Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs that may protect you from IRS collection agencies.
I owe the IRS $37,000.
They have the power to garnish your wages, put liens on your property, and levy your bank account. Civic Tax Relief can help protect you from the IRS.
Civic Tax Relief basically represented me against the IRS. By the time everything was completed, I didn't owe the IRS anything.
Find out about the Fresh Start program that is now available through Civic Tax Relief. Civic Tax Relief's special tax hotline can help you discover all the relief programs available for free.
I would recommend anyone who has a tax problem to contact Civic Tax Relief.
Just call 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500. Don't wait, call now, 800-285-3500, 800-285-3500.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
I'm an Eat and Fire hero. I was trapped there January 7th, 2025, so I was awarded the Carnegie American Red Cross and the Kiwanis Lifesaver Award. So, to me, this looks like a slow burn. We constantly see Dr. Hardy, Pastor Caldwell, Mr. Smiley here. Their business is slowly impacted. Now, in Altadena, it was a quick burn. Everybody left. Everybody got priced out. They didn't have enough money to stay afloat. They couldn't rebuild their property. So, to me, this is a target for the developers. In my opinion, having been in Altadena for 18 months, still today, I still feed all of those people there because they're still displaced because they can't afford to come back. So what do? They move down to the Inland Empire, or they just call it a day and they go back to another state. So it's important to hold leadership accountable because as of right now, they've abdicated their responsibility. They just show up for the cameras and they don't even come to see you.
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, and so that question of whether, the black agenda or black priorities are left behind or calculated to be not of importance by some within the DSA movement is a fair question, even though we talk about it all the time when it comes to the mainstream Democrats and Republicans. I think that just because you say, well, I'm a progressive, or just because you say I'm a Democratic Socialist, I don't think you get a pass. You still have to show up specifically and address the issues in our communities.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm not a member of DSA. I have been on their calls, and some of the outrageous and crazy things people continue to associate with, I never heard any of it. And I do not think that, when you think about it, okay, Angie Nixon is running to become a United States Senator. Why would she be in support of abolishing the Senate? This stuff is crazy, and they are narrative. They're false.
But it is on their website. No. Go on the DSA website right now. It says that.
I've been on the DSA's website.
I mean, it says that it does say it's not a false narrative. It says we want to eliminate the executive branch. So, how is that a false narrative if it says it on their website?
Well, maybe they're talking about the current executive branch.
I'd be for that.
The fact of the matter is, and again, I reiterate, no, they're not black nationalists. No, they're not Pan-Africanists. They are for a better quality of life for all.
Well, I mean, you're the only one that brought up Pan-Africanists. That wasn't part of my.
No, I understand, but I'm addressing this thing about, like they had said, and I'm going to look at Mamdani. People said, oh, Mamdani just got the vote of the gentrifiers and young, ill-informed black people. Well, Jamie Foster Brown was out there campaigning
trust and believe. If I lived in New York, I would have voted for him. I'm not, but although he has faced that critique. But one thing about Mamdani is he appears to adjust. Someone said, no, immigrants didn't build this country. Black people built this country, and immigrants helped build this country, but enslaved persons built it. And then he makes the adjustment. He doesn't sit there and ignore it and double down. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely. And also acknowledging the contributions of other people does no ways diminish the fact that we built this country under the institution of slavery. Yes, we built the White House, but after Reconstruction, they brought in the Chinese to build the damn railroad. And so our contribution is not diminished by acknowledging that people from the Bahamas.
No, it's not diminished, but it's become fashionable to just edit us out and say immigrants built this country. Immigrants built this country. No. Actually, I do agree that is not that. There's a major problem with that narrative, and that is the impulse that we're talking about when we talk about people making the calculus that they don't need black people. We're not the flavor of the month, and so therefore they can govern, run, and organize without us. And I think that's a mistake.
Well, the thing is that I have not seen an example of that. I've heard people who are not DSA who are trying to be divisive that have laid that out. And I'm hovering to New York City and in Washington, D.C. And the things that are being said, I know they are not true because I know black people who were out there campaigning. And many of those folks, many of the folks that had voted for Cuomo in the general election, they voted, I'm sorry, in the primaries, they voted for Mamdani. And in fact, you had the largest voter turnout in New York City in decades. And with this narrative, oh, he doesn't have any black deputy mayors, Boulder Dash. I'm looking at black people from the school.
Yeah, I got you. I'm not just talking about Mamdani. I see it here in Los Angeles. I can call out some examples, but I won't do it right now. Right here in LA. But and understand. Hold on, Fahima. Understand. I consider myself a Democratic Socialist. I am not a member of DSA. Considered joining it, but I don't want to eliminate the executive branch. But I'm back on their website, and I don't see that anymore. So I'm wondering if they took it down.
Is it possible that was not their website?
No, it's not possible. This is the same website that I was on. I'm not an idiot. But no, I mean, also it's possible that they're saying we're having a moment. Our candidates are winning. Maybe we shouldn't undermine them. That could be a possibility.
All last year, I was on DSA calls. I'm not a member of DSA. I'm a member of the Working Families Party in New York. And I've never seen the things that people have been saying was on their website. And I've never seen anybody articulating that. And I don't think any of the people that have been elected.
All right, we're not going to go back and forth. I have seen it with my own eyes, read it with my own eyes. So, we have different perspectives on that, and I'm happy to see the wave of DSA victories. Do not get me wrong. I have two concerns: one, no progressive posers, and two, more than two, but those are the main two. We will not be strategically eliminated from your plan, because black people are always going to be leading voices and leading organizers in this country and around the world. That's my position. We got news, traffic, and sports if you want to stay with. I'm happy to keep talking to you, Fahima. It's always great because you're so well informed, and it's a robust conversation. She called me at 800-920-1580. I invite you to do the same.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. NIPSCO crews are making progress restoring power across northwest Indiana after the August 11th storms. Black Mayor of Gary, Indiana, Eddie Melton, says they are working around the clock.
The latest restoration for, I believe, 95 to 100% will be August 25th. But they're actively restoring power right now as we speak.
Gary Public Schools will remain closed until further notice. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is making a third attempt to overturn his murder conviction in the death of George Floyd. Chauvin's attorneys argue prosecutors violated his constitutional rights, while courts have previously rejected similar appeals. And Master P says Rap Snacks is exploring the possibility of going public. Speaking with Forbes, the entrepreneur said the move could expand black ownership opportunities and help communities build wealth by allowing more people to invest in the growing snack brand. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers have a lot of work to do with their second and third string players. Most of them were on the field Thursday night at SoFi during the Chargers' 41-17 loss to San Francisco. The Chargers play their final preseason game next Thursday against the Rams at SoFi. The Rams play their second preseason game Saturday against New Orleans, 1 p.m. kickoff at SoFi. For the sixth straight year, the LA Sparks will miss the WNBA playoffs. The Sparks' 124-88 loss Thursday night to the Atlanta Dream eliminated them from playoff contention. The loss dropped the Sparks to 12-24. They haven't made the playoffs since 2020. The Dodgers are back in action tonight after an off day Thursday. They start a 3-game series at home against Pittsburgh. The Dodgers are 2 games behind Milwaukee for the best record in Major League Baseball. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
You can't fix what you won't face, and we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Deon Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. For years, LA City Councilman Curran Price has served his district. And for years, he's been under a legal cloud which, frankly, looks thinner every time it's tested in court. Last Friday, a Superior Court judge refused to throw out the corruption case against Price. That's true. But listen to what the judge actually said while doing it. Judge Larry Paul Fidler called this not a great case. Not our words, his. Price's attorney, standing right there in the courtroom, said it plainly. In denying our motion, the court acknowledged that this is not a great case. We agree. Now, that's not a ringing endorsement of a prosecution. That's a judge saying, essentially, there's just enough here to send it to a jury. Barely. The ruling itself says nothing about guilt. It's not proof of wrongdoing. What it is a low bar, cleared by a thin margin, on evidence the court itself has called circumstantial. Councilman Price has pleaded not guilty. He denies the allegations. And after 3 terms representing his district, he's term limited and on his way out of office, regardless of how this case ends, which raises a fair question. What exactly is served? By dragging a longtime champion for working families in South Los Angeles through a trial that even the presiding judge doesn't sound confident about. We're not saying elected officials should not be held accountable. They should. But accountability means something different from a prosecution that struggles to convince the very judge overseeing it. Curran Price deserves his day in court, and he deserves the presumption of innocence any one of us would want for ourselves or a loved one, especially when the bench itself has doubts. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Deon Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for Unapologetically Progressive Radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay. So here you go. I did find it. They're calling it a program, not a platform. That was drafted between April and June of 2026 by a group elected within the DSA. And so I guess this is their program rather than their platform. And what it says is for the working class to govern, we need a new political system, end political corruption and legalized bribery. Definitely agree with that. Get rid of lobbyists. Yep, to that. Get rid of dark money. Absolutely. End Citizens United. Yes, to that. Publicly finance all elections. Yes to that, although we would have to have some limits because who wants to spend all our money on publicly financed elections? That is the ultimate campaign finance reform because you create an actual level playing field where you can't buy elections. You can't Elon Musk an election. Abolish the Electoral College. Yes to that. replace the president and the Supreme Court with an executive and judiciary chosen by and subordinate to Congress. Okay. So, yeah, eliminate the presidency and change the Congress. Replace the two-party system with a multi-party democracy. Check. Expand the House of Representatives, implement proportional representation and ranked choice voting. I agree with all of that. And abolish the Senate. It does say abolish the Senate. I wouldn't be opposed to that, to be honest with you. But if what it looks like they're talking about is having the Congress just be one house, right? House of Representatives, and make it to where everybody's representation in Congress is based on their population. I'm assuming that the reason they want to abolish the Senate is because we have 2 senators per state, no matter how many people are there, and so it creates a way of protecting rich people in small white states. I mean, to make it plain, right? Establish public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries. This is what they're talking about. You can find it yourself. Program.dsausa.org. #democracy. Oh, Fahima, you want to clap back on me here?
No, I'm
Sorry
not
about
clap
that.
back on you. I'm not clap back on you, but I just wanted to say, I'm hearing this narrative that they're trying to push black people out. And right now, in this current election, you have 3 black women and a black man who are nominees for mayor, 2 for Congress, and 1 for the Senate. So I don't see that. Like I said, I've been on DSA calls. I'm not a member of DSA, but I've been on their calls, and I just stopped going because I got annoyed because they'd have people calling me to remind me, and I just don't like being.
Would you consider joining? Because I'm thinking about it. I feel like if enough black folks joined, it might be a positive impact on the organization. To me, I'm not saying they're pushing us out. I'm saying there are some Democratic Socialists who feel that they can win, run, strategize, organize by skipping over black people. But I don't, I think we kind of beat that conversation into the mud a little bit. I did want to comment on the issue of reparations and Mamdani, because you brought it up in the chat that he had allocated this $500,000, which wasn't for reparations, but part of the money is to create hearings, community hearings around the topic of reparations, which would help inform his commission.
That's additional money.
Right, that would help inform.
Additional money besides what the governor
I'm
has.
clear on that.
In addition to what the governor, So
and it's all, but some of it is also going to nonprofits for various truth and reconciliation. So it's not all reparations, just to be clear.
How Charles Barron set up the legislation was to have community organizations involved, and that's where the forums take place. If these additional monies were allocated for that purpose, in addition to what the governor had allocated. So he didn't have to, in his budget for this fiscal year, he didn't have to put that in.
Of course he didn't, and he's having a fiscal crisis just like every other city. So yeah, there's definitely a boldness to that. And he has said publicly that he will wait for the results of his reparations commission, but that he that New York is definitely implicated in Jim Crow and enslavement of black people, and that this is something, making this right is something he would support. So I think it's fair to say, so far, the mayor of New York, the Democratic Socialist mayor of New York, has been in support of reparations. And I think that's a fair analysis.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, first, I'm registered with the Working Families Party, so I can't join DSA as a member, because again, the thing is that the Working Families Party is an actual party. DSA, you have to be a registered Democrat to be a member of DSA, just like Bernie Sanders is an independent. He theoretically is a Democratic Socialist, but he's not a member of the Democratic Socialist. And see, there's a lot.
He's not a member of DSA. He's not a member of the Democratic Party, but he is a Democratic Socialist, and he is the one that made it safe for all these folks to run around saying that they're Democratic Socialists.
I don't know, because again, David Dinkins and the other congressmen, they were Democratic Socialists. I knew David Dinkins.
Well, yeah, okay, and here's where your East Coast bias starts to, your East Coast, I shouldn't say bias, but your East Coast orientation comes into play. Because David Dinkins did not have the kind of national impact that Bernie Sanders did. And the vilification of people that you're talking about, oh, you're a communist, is something I'm all too familiar with, having a communist for a dad, right? The way that people marginalize you, the way that people dismiss it, and what Donald Trump is trying to resurrect is that energy around the Democratic Socialist candidates and agenda. And I agree with you, that is a problem, and it's also not accurate. But okay, so you can credit Dinkins, but as far as nationally, here in the United States, I think Bernie Sanders is the one that made it safe for folks to go in the water.
Dominique, I'll raise you one. Ron Dellums was the congressman.
I know who Ron Dellums is, from Oakland.
And, yes, I know you know. I know you do. And he was he was a national officer with DSA. And as I mentioned before, the Gaza of yesterday was the anti-apartheid movement. And he was the one that wrote the legislation for that divestment bill in Congress.
All right, Fahima. Yep. True, and also it didn't have the national traction of a Bernie Sanders. It just didn't. I mean, if you're from Oakland, sure, or if you're a follower of Dellums, which many people were, because he was, a powerful progressive elected, right, when it wasn't fashionable to be so. So yeah, definitely big ups to Ron Dellums, but I'm talking about mainstream conversation, popularization, and acceptance of the idea that a person could be a Democratic Socialist in the United States and be part of the mainstream of American politics. Giving you the last word here, Fahima.
I'm saying the anti-apartheid movement at that time was a major national and global issue.
It was indeed.
And I don't think that people just went unnoticed. There are people who are around today who understand that, who know that Jesse Jackson's platform was in line with DSA, and they endorsed him. And that was the first time that I voted. And so there are people who are around at that time, and I think the people are deliberately forgetting, because many of them think that they have arrived, and they're centrist Democrats.
Got it.
And they want to maintain the status quo.
Okay, gotcha, Fahima. Thank you for co-hosting today's show. 800-920-1580, that's the number if you want to call me like Fahima did. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
My name is Asata Umoja. I'm with the Hyde Park Organizational Partnership for Empowerment, which is at the southern end of Crenshaw. And this community has been greatly impacted. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're most concerned about is just being totally neglected. And what I mean is being excluded from the process. When this project first started, they should have made sure that our organization, since we were most impacted, was in there. So we've been excluded, and we've seen commercial properties be taken for art projects. And we're very concerned about these are spaces that could help build economic growth and development in the community. And what this community needs more of is economic development, not art. I mean, I like art. It's a good thing. But they're putting the cart before the horse. Because without a solid economic foundation, what they are calling cultural tourism absolutely has no significance and no meaning. And this community is going under if we don't stop and do something to help build that economic foundation and support the businesses that are the tax base for this community to build the kind of services that we need. And the response from our leadership is totally inadequate.
Holding them accountable. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Self-destruction. Yeah, it was self-destruction. Self-destruction. Yeah, it was self-destruction.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Oh no! Straight a roof down.
I don't know if we have time.
Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Forward with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through the city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580, your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive. The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
I love it. Fahima, giving some context to today's moment. Surely Reverend Jesse Jackson opened the doors for a lot of people in a lot of places, black presidential candidates, black national candidacies and campaigns, the effectiveness of coalition and shared interests as he was able to build his rainbow coalition. I don't believe that Jesse Jackson is primarily known or remembered for being endorsed by the DSA or being a Democratic Socialist. I did grow up around him and with his ideas. Actually, Jesse Jackson was friends with my own father, and so, I was exposed to him from an early age. And in fact, the first political fundraiser I ever did as a young person was Hip Hop for Jesse Jackson. Back in the day, it was me and Hammer and some other folks in the Bay raising money for the Rev. So I think that you're right. Perhaps he doesn't get the credit. Perhaps Ron Dellums doesn't get the credit. Someone's talking smack about Ron Dellums in our YouTube chat. But Ron Dellums did do a lot of work. He was one of the founders of the Congressional Black Caucus. He was one of the founders of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. He created an anti-apartheid act that was vetoed by the then resident Reagan. He did a lot of things. He was an anti-war activist. So although he may have had his controversies like many lawmakers do, to say that he did nothing is not true. But also, I don't think that he popularized democratic socialism. In a way, it doesn't matter. We are where we are right now. And when I talk about progressives and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party being where the energy is, being where the progress is, being where Medicare for all is, where free college for all is, I'm not just only talking about members of DSA, right? I'm sure there are people in the Working Families Party that do consider themselves to be socialist or very progressive Democrats. I'm talking about victories for people that don't identify that way at all. It's not my understanding that Ayanna Pressley is a member of DSA, but she's one of the most progressive members of Congress when it comes to actual policy and what they really stand up for, not just how they position themselves. And I think that is part of what I'm pointing out, is whether you join DSA, whether you join Working Families Party, whether you become declined to state, or whether you decide that you're going to not, be in any party, or you're going to join the Green Party, whatever you're doing, the point is the people who are standing behind justice, who are standing behind the greater good, the people who are standing behind initiatives and policies that help working class people, that aren't afraid to say poor or low resource or working class or the working poor. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be tied to any organization, party, or caucus. The election of Aisha Wahab to Congress to fill the seat taken by that was lost by Eric Swalwell. And as Ed Sanders pointed out this morning, first thing, she's still going to have to fill, she won the race to fill the rest of his term. She's still going to have to win her own full term in November. And she is a solid progressive, as Ed pointed out, the first Muslim woman and the first Afghan American woman elected to the California legislature. And she was organized against strongly by AIPAC, $6.4 million from that political action group alone, and other conservative groups also throwing in money to try to defeat her. It did not work. And as far as I know, she's not a member of the DSA. You understand what I'm saying? Yay, Angie Nixon won in Florida. I love that Florida is having some unpredictable moments. But what I'm saying is it's the progressive groundswell, right? Which is much more widespread among Generation Z, but is also touching everybody from Bernie, who I believe is a boomer. I don't think he's greatest generation. He ain't that old. From boomers all the way to alphas. And so, and with, I would say, probably the most solid support among Gen Z. So it doesn't have to go by a certain label. It doesn't have to go by a certain caucus. It doesn't have to go by even a party. It is an impulse. Medicare for all, free college, paid family leave, an end to the endless wars and the overblown military budget, which sucks up all the money that we need for education, health care, and other child care, affordability, public options for grocery stores and banks. Those are the things that we're talking about. And those are the issues which we have found year after year, decade after decade. If you take the label off it, if you don't label it Republican or Democrat or black or white, you just call it Medicare for all, and you explain to people what it is, the vast majority of the American people support it. And now with the backlash against Israel and the backlash against this president because of his seemingly cavalier expenditure of billions of our dollars on foreign wars and foreign priorities, we may be in a moment where this country is going to turn toward the progressive agenda, whatever you call it, whatever label you put on it. And it was Congresswoman Maxine Waters who 5 years ago, about 5 years ago, told me in 5 to 10 years, the progressives are going to be controlling the Congress. She said they've got candidates, policies, and organizers in the pipeline that are very effective. I believe she said we, but she was talking about the younger generation and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. And I prayed that she was right, and it appears that she was. Not to say they're controlling everything now, far from it. The corporate wing is still in control. But if you look at where the momentum is, where the energy is, where the growth potential is, and if you look at the Washington Post from their editorial board saying, Democratic Socialists are giving Republicans a gift. It's the same tired, moderate, corporate, establishment Democratic Party argument that these Democratic Socialists, whether they're DSAs or just independent progressives or just common sense affordability and working class advocates, that these candidates are unelectable. Why? It's one of those dumb analysis like likable. Who decides who's electable? Who decides who's likable? You know who decides? The voters. And so when I saw that editorial, I said, okay, so you're fiercely advocating for what? The status quo? That's your argument? Nothing but the status quo is electable? That we should continue to suffer and allow corporations to have their way with us? Our wallets, our priorities, that we should continue to allow the oligarchs, the broligarchs, and the war profiteers to set the agenda? Because progressives and Democratic Socialists are not electable? Says who? The 20th century called. She wants her talking points back. It's a whole new world, my friends, and I'm here for it. The best of Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got the highlights of the week that was. You do not want to miss that. In fact, we've got an incredible lineup all day long. Amanda Seals has her show on at noon and 7. Tomorrow, don't miss Miles Lowe. He'll be on at noon. And I will see you downtown with Tech Lamert if you make it. Like my father, the former poet laureate of New Jersey, the late, great Amiri Baraka, a.k.a. Leroy Jones, once said a person is either free or they are not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until next time, my KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. NIPSCO crews are making progress restoring power across northwest Indiana after the August 11th storms. Black